Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. So, in this video, we are going to see about the GitHub actions and a workflow file. So, first, we will see what is a GitHub action. So, GitHub action is a flexible way to automate nearly every aspect of your team's software workflow, and we can automate testing, we can continuously deploy, review code, manage issues, and pull requests, and much more. So the best part, these workflows are stored as code in our repository and easily shared and reused across teams. So now we saw about the GitHub action. So here we have the GitHub, the actions tab, where we can, so we have a lot of workflows here. So what is a workflow? So a workflow is a configurable automated process that will run one or more jobs, and workflows are defined in special files under the .github. So here we have the .github folder. So under this we have the workflows folder. So we have to define the workflow, the YAML files under the workflow directory, which is under the github, and they execute based on a chosen event. So in this exercise, we will use a pull request. So for that, I'm going to the pull requests here. And now I'm going to click on the new pull request. And now here we have the base branch, which is the main branch. And here we have the branch, which is the new branch, which we are going to use to merge it with the main branch. So here I have the welcome workflow, and I'm going to compare the changes. So before we move on to see how does this work, I request you all to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share the video with your friends. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a pull request. So here we can see we have got a lot of changes comparing to this. So on the left side here you can see these are the original files in the main branch, and the changes that you see on the right side, which is in green color, are the code changes in the branch, the welcome workflow branch. So now we have seen the changes and we agree with the changes. So now I'm going to click on the create pull request, and now again I'm going to create another pull request. So now I'm going to navigate. So let's wait. So I have created the pull request. So now I'm going to navigate to the code tab, and from the main branch, the drop down, I'm going to click on the welcome workflow branch. So this is the branch that we wanted to merge. So now I'm navigating to the GitHub folder, and at that I'm clicking on the workflows folder, and now here I'm going to add a new file. So to add a new file, I'm going to click on the add file and create new file. This file is going to be welcome.yaml. So any workflow files will have the extension of YAML, which is yet another markup language, and I'm going to add a content. So it's very simple content, which is going to be, so the name of this workflow file is post welcome content, and on any pull request we're going to write. So that's what this code is all about. So let me explain you very clearly. So the name, the post welcome comment, is a user defined name for the workflow. So in this case it suggests that the workflow is intended to automatically post a welcome comment. And then we have the second line, we have the on. So this specifies the GitHub event that will trigger the workflow. And then in the third line we have the pull request, which indicates that the event we are interested is in related to pull request. So the event will be triggered based on the if it's a pull request, and then the types opened. So this specifies that the workflow, so in line 4 we are seeing this types open. So this specifies that the workflow should be triggered when a pull request is opened. This means that when a new pull request is created, this workflow will run. And now we have the fifth line, which is the permissions. So this section indicates the permissions required for the workflow to perform certain actions, and that action is the pull request, right? So this specifies that the workflow requires write access to pull request. So this means it will have the ability to comment on pull request. So in summary, this workflow will automatically run when a new pull request is opened in the repository. It will have the necessary permissions to write comments on the pull requests. So now we will see the next step. So now to commit the changes, I'm going to click on the commit changes here, and then again the commit changes. So once we commit the changes, automatically the create welcome.yaml, the workflow file, will start to execute. And here we can see the workflow file has started to execute. So far in our very first action, we have created a welcome workflow file. So now we are going to add a job to our workflow file. So what is a job? So a job is a set of steps in a workflow that executes on the same runner. So a runner is a server that runs our workflow when triggered. So workflow have jobs, jobs have steps. So these steps are executed in order and are dependent on each other. So we'll add steps in the next step of this exercise. So in this step of exercise, we will add a build job. So we'll specify the Ubuntu latest as the fastest and the cheapest job runner available. So if we want to read, if you want to know more about why we'll use the load runner, I'll explain you that in a separate video. So now we will add a job to our workflow file, and for that we'll have to open our welcome.yaml file. So let's go back to the code and let me open the workflow.yaml file. So under my branch, the welcome workflow, I have the welcome.yaml file, and now we are going to make few changes here. So the name is going to be the same, and on the pull request we're going to run this change, and the permissions will be the same, which is the pull request, right? And now the next thing, so before we are going to make any changes, just click on this pen button, pen icon. So this will enable us to write the code, and I'm going to add the job. So I have already told you what's a job. So jobs, under jobs I'm going to add the build. Under the build I'm going to add the name, which is post welcome comment, and it's going to run on the Ubuntu latest. So now we have made all the changes. So we have written a job with the name post welcome comment, and which runs on the runner, which is the Ubuntu latest. And let's do a commit. I'm going to update the welcome.yaml file, and now let's go back to the actions and see. So here we can see we have updated the YAML file and it has started to execute. So let's wait for it to see. So the jobs wait for some time to get the runner, and once it gets it, automatically it will get executed. And here we can see all the update YAML, the workflow YAML has got executed. So the step 1, step 2 and step 3 has got executed for the update welcome YAML file. So far we have added a welcome.yaml file, a workflow file, and then we have added jobs to the YAML, the workflow file. So now we're going to add actions to the YAML file. So what is an action, or what are steps? So action steps will run during our job in order. So each step is either a shell script that will be executed or an action that will be run. So each step must pass for the next step to run. So action steps can be used from within the same repository, from any other public repository, or from a published Docker container page. So we will see how to do that. So let me again go back to the code and let me choose the branch, which is the welcome workflow, and then we're going to open the GitHub. Under the workflows we have the welcome.yaml file. and at this we're going to edit the changes. So we are not going to make any of the changes to the top 10 lines, and we're going to add new lines under this. So the steps, as I told you, we're going to add the steps. It starts with minus space or minus tab run. So what I'm going to run is I'm going to run gh comment $pr_URL, which is the body, which tells welcome to the repository, the exclamation mark, and then the environment. So which environment do I need to run this? So the environment. So under the environment, I'm going to use the Github underscore token with the dollar symbol, and here anything that you use under the double brackets is the parameter values, which is going to be the secrets dot Github underscore token, and then the PR underscore the pull request URL is going to be the again dollar open braces and close braces, and at this it's going to be github dot event dot pull underscore request dot html underscore URL, and we have made all the changes now. So now let's do a commit again. So I'm going to commit these changes. So we have added the steps to this code, and let's go back to the actions. So here we can see the actions has started to execute. The workflow has started to execute now. So same way, all the three actions have got executed. So let's wait for the last one to get completed. So far we have created a workflow file, we have added jobs, and then we have added the actions to the workflow file. So now we have come to the fourth step of it. So we have made all these changes in our branch, and now we have to merge it to the main. So for that we have to go to the pull request, which we have created in the first step. So we have created a pull request, which is the welcome workflow. And now let's go back to the merge pull request, and I'm going to click on the confirm merge. So this will optionally delete this. Will like you can click on the delete branch to delete our welcome workflow branch. So I'm going to delete the welcome workflow branch now. So with that, our changes has been merged to the main branch. So here if I go to the GitHub under the workflows, I can see the welcome.yaml, and that's the only branch which I have. So you can see there are no other branches. And when I go to actions, so after the merge, now you can see the main change has got executed, and here under this you can see we have got this change is the workflow file that has got executed. So now let's see how to trigger the workflow, because we have made all the changes. So anytime when a pull request is getting created, the workflow will execute. So let's see how to do that. So let me go back to the code and let me create a new branch. So to create a new branch, I have to type test minus workflow and click on enter. So I can click on this create branch test workflow. So this has created a new branch. So we can commit any changes to a branch, such as, so we can add an emoji. So I'm going just opening the readme.file and just clicking on the edit file, and I'm going to add a line at the end which tells us that adding a line to trigger the workflow, and then I'm going to click on the commit changes, and I'm adding the commit changes. So now we will create a pull request on our branch. So here we can see automatically we have got a notification. So I'm going to click on the compare and pull request, and I'm going to create the pull request. So now after a few seconds, let's go to the action. So here we can see the update readme and the post welcome comment has triggered the so this was the line that we have added to our code, or we have added to the script. And here we can see this is the URL, the pull request URL comment which we have added. So now it's very clear that any change, so when we create a pull request automatically, so here you can see we have triggered the workflow and it has executed successfully. So it's running fine because we have created the pull request, and that pull request has triggered the change or triggered the workflow. So that's what we wanted to do at this step. So with that, I come to an end. So in this video, we saw about how to create a GitHub Actions workflow file and where to make our workflow file. And then we have created an event trigger, a job, and we have added steps to a workflow file. And also we have automated the workflow file changes. So with that, we come to an end, and I believe this video will be very useful to you. So until I meet you in another interesting video, it's bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and Little's Law.